This is Lorenzo, and in today's video, I'd like to talk about my views of science, especially applied to funding of taxonomy, which is the science I'm working in. So taxonomy is the science that aim at delimiting species, naming them, describing biodiversity. It is often considered as a very fundamental sciences, as it do not have any direct application or financial outcomes. However, something that people and especially funders always or nearly always forgot is that it helps at giving names to organisms we can use as models for other science of biology. And especially, it aims at giving tools to enable people to recognize these different species. And this may seem anecdotic to some of you, but in reality, it is extremely important. Imagine you are trying to work with. I'm gonna take an example I've been discussing with scientists in the US. They were trying to understand difference of nutritious values between different population of crickets in Madagascar. There, they are trying to to build programs to fight against malnutrition of children, especially giving them insect floors to eat, especially cricket floors. And they were trying to understand what were the nutrients contained in these different population of crickets, and if there were any difference in the responses of children to this different population of crickets. And they observed a lot of variation in their data sets, but they were not able to explain what was this variation coming from. They first suspected that it was the food given to the crickets that was different, and they tried to shift from the different breeding centers, and they found absolutely no effects. They tried plenty of things, and they involved plenty of different people working with nutrients and assimilations mechanisms, and they were still unable to obtain an explanation for the variation they had in their data. And it's only when they began to do some genetic analysis on the population they had that they noticed that these populations were absolutely not homogeneous. And so they decided to call ornithopterologists, which is the taxonomist working with crickets. And this guy has been able to solve in a few minutes their problem, the problem that had lasted for years, because he noticed that the population of crickets they were using was not just simple populations. It was just there were just two different species of crickets that did not have the same ecology, so they were not exactly feeding the same, even if they were extremely similar morphologically speaking, especially for people that are not used to discriminate species with morphology. He was used to discriminate such species, so he could do it, and hence help all the other teams to solve their problem with crickets. And now they know that one species is clearly better than the others to absorb nutrients, and of course the flour we can produce with it is largely more nutrients for the children that are going to consume it. So this is just a small example to illustrate the fact that taxonomy is super important. You cannot work with non-model organisms in a lab if you're not able to identify precisely them, because if you're not able to identify them, you're going to impede the reproducibility of your data, because someone else that's gonna try to reproduce experiments with another strain of your supposed species, maybe it's gonna work with another species, because these are not organisms that have been cultivated for years, for example. So that's why we are at a time where people are trying to, fundings are more and more constrained, and often we are trying to to prioritize funding towards projects that are directly applied, for example, to human health or human agriculture. And we often forget that some fundamental sciences are absolutely crucial and vital, I would say, for the good scientific health of these other fields. By scientific health, I mean by, for example, the reproducibility of experiments and hence their reliability. So that was the small point I wanted to talk about today. Taxonomy is super cool, so please help us finding funds to do it, and I hope I convinced you about it. Thank you for your attention.